Hi, I'm Connor from Roundtable Audio, and today I'll show you how to use a guitar amplifier, covering the standard controls that you'll find across most different amps, a bit on how they work, and also some different settings that you can use to dial in some different sounds. To set up your guitar amplifier, first make sure that it's turned off. Then take a guitar cable like this and connect one side to your electric guitar and the other side into your amplifier's input. If your amp's turned on during this process, you'll get a horrible noise like this, which isn't great. Before you turn your amp on, first make sure that your guitar's volume is turned up and the amp's volume is turned down. Now you can switch your amp on and then turn it up to a volume that suits you. Now let's take a look at the controls. To start with, it's helpful to know that your guitar amp is made up of two parts, the preamp and the power amp. The preamp is the first part of the amp, and that takes your guitar's signal and shapes the overall tone and sound of it, and then that's passed on to the power amp, which makes it louder. I found that knowing these two different stages helps you understand the controls a bit better. Let's start with the preamp controls. These are usually gain, treble, middle, and bass. Gain basically sets the amount of distortion on the amp, as what you're doing is you're changing the level of the signal going into the preamp. So a bigger signal will cause more distortion, and a smaller signal, less. On some amplifiers, like this one, you might also have an extra volume knob, or you might not even have a gain knob at all and just a volume. This is called a channel volume, and it works very similarly to the gain knob. You're just increasing the level of the signal, which creates distortion. Next, we have the equalization or EQ controls. These each adjust a range of frequencies, which shapes the tone of your amp. Treble adjusts the high end, middle the mid-range, and bass the low end. I like to think of it as treble adds sharpness, middle adds body, and bass adds warmth. You might see that some guitar amps have what's called a presence knob. How it works varies from amp to amp, but it basically just adjusts the upper high ends. The overall volume of the amplifier is set by the master volume control, and this adjusts the level of the signal from the power amp, which drives the speaker. Between the preamp and power amp sections, some guitar amplifiers like this one have built-in effects. The specific controls vary a lot from amp to amp, but there'll always be a way to engage the effect and turn it off or on, and then set the level of the effect. This part between the preamp and power amp is also where you'll find the FX loop, if you have one. This gives you another way to connect guitar pedals without having them coloured by the preamp, and I've explained a bit more about that in my video here. Not every guitar amp has one, this one doesn't. So now that you know what the settings are for, let's take a look at some ways that we can use them to dial in some different sounds. For a clean sound, you'll want a low gain setting. You can dial in some country by upping the treble and dropping the bass. For a blues rock tone, I like to set the gain around 10 or 12 o'clock, and then I'll boost the middle. It'll give it some more body. And you can turn this into a rock tone by boosting the gain up. For metal, you'll want a high gain setting. I'd also try dropping the middle, which is called a scooped mid. You'll hear this all over metal guitar, especially early Metallica. So, do you have a favourite amp setting? Let me know in the comments down below, and subscribe for more guitar tips. Thank you.